Everyone, this is a video instructing you on how to write a report through PT Practice Pro. In a different video, I showed you how you can write a daily note, which you will tend to use this flow sheet. You'll go through this link to get that, but I'm going to show you how to use this screen, the SOAP status screen, which you will write an eval report, a progress report, or a discharge report. You can also do a daily note through there, but you'll probably tend to do your more formal reports through this way. So how to get to the screen, first of all, in your dashboard, I clicked on My Appointments and I selected the date that I wanted to write a note for, and then you can click on this icon to bring you into this report screen. So on this screen, on your left-hand side, you are going to use this to select which kind of report you're writing. You're going to choose the library that you're going to pull material from, and you'll check off the things that you want, and you'll bring it over to the right side of your screen, and this is where you're really going to be working on your note. This is where your actual note is going to be on this hand side. So the first thing you're going to do is pick which type of report you want to write. So like I mentioned, you could write a daily note from here, depending on just your preference and what kind of information you need. You'll definitely be writing your initial eval, your progress reports, and your discharge reports through here. This top part here is really just a label for what kind of report you're writing. Underneath it is the library that you will choose that you want to pull material from. So we have already created a whole bunch of different templates that have all sorts of assessment items that you can choose from. So I'm a PT, so I'm familiar with this side of it, so I'm going to use this as an example. And this will make more sense as we go along. Finally, just since we're going in order here, you can filter the library to search for just a particular item if you don't want to sift through the entire template, if you know what you're looking for. So you can just type any sort of search term and it'll just pull up anything that has that term in it. So underneath here, I don't know if you noticed, when I clicked on this PT discharge note, it changed this material here. This is kind of the skeleton of what is included in a PT discharge note. So these are kind of like the first part of the outline. Each of these, as you can see, have a little plus icon, and you keep on clicking through until you get a checkbox. This is an actual text box. You have to click through all the way until you get to a checkbox, because the checkboxes are where there's an actual text box or table or something of that sort that you can actually pull over to the right-hand side. So just so you understand what I'm talking about, I'm just going to show you this really quick. I'll explain more as we go along. But you can see I pulled this title heading that says patient comments under subjective and current level of function under objective. I checked both of those off and I clicked the plus sign, and now they're in my working note here. I'm going to close these out just to clear things up, to make it a little easier to see for now. And I'll minimize these so it's just a little bit cleaner to see. Right now, I'd like to orient you to all of these different icons on the right-hand side, because they'll be useful as we go along while we do this. I don't use all of these, so I'll kind of skim over the ones that I don't really use. You can feel free to explore and play around with them and see what's useful to you, but I'll show you what's useful to me. The save icon is a very important one. You need to save any changes to your notes before you exit the screen or before you sign the note. So make sure that you're saving as you go along. This plus sign adds anything that you have checked off from this side to your working note. And I'll let you know now that you can pull things from multiple templates. So I can pull things from this discharge note. That's the library that I'm working in. And then if there's something that I know is in the template for the evaluation that I would like to include, I can do that. I can select the evaluation and then using the same process, pull something over from here into this screen. You might not necessarily need that, but just wanted to let you know that you can make basically anything onto this side from anything on this side. This one will clear the checkboxes. So if I have a bunch of things checked off and I'd like to just start fresh, I'd like to not have those, you can just unclear them that way. This big red X, be careful with this one, because this will delete everything that you have on this right-hand side. It will completely clear it out, so it's a blank screen like this. So really only use that if you're just kind of playing around with stuff and you realize you don't need anything that you were just working with. that's what I would use that for. You can add a follow-up from this screen. I describe what follow-ups are more in a different video. And there's other ways that you can send follow-ups, but you can send it through this screen if you'd like to, which is kind of nice. If you're just thinking of something while you're here, you can do it right here. This icon is actually pretty useful. This one, copy previous notes. It's not going to have anything for me because this is a test patient that I haven't written a note for yet. But this, if you do have a patient that you've seen before, this will pull up different evaluation or any sort of report that you've written before and all the different sections in the note. So this is useful if like you want to compare something that you assessed in the initial evaluation and now it's a progress note. You can pull forward items from previous notes. So it'll be a column of different checkboxes that you can uncheck and then just check through the specific ones that you're looking for. And then this little icon that we were just looking at, oops, sorry. This icon, it's going to be in that screen as well. You'll have to actually click that icon to actually copy them over into this note. Hopefully that makes sense. These ones, I don't really use these icons too much. These ones I probably don't use all that much either. What this does is, okay, so to kind of explain what's going on here, we have these libraries that have like a huge amount of different assessments. You're probably not going to write a note where you include every single thing that's in this library. So you're probably just going to, every time you write an eval report, you're going to open up the library and just pick the things that you would like to use. Now, if you find yourself tending to use more than others and you'd like to save yourself a little bit of that time that you have to click through and select the things you like, what you can do is do it one time, get the kind of items that you think you're going to use more commonly, or maybe for a specific diagnosis or presentation or something of that nature. You can use this to save everything that you've clicked over here as a new template. And then once you've done that, you can choose from that template by using this icon. You can select a template and just pull it in here. So those are a couple potentially useful items. This one is a pretty nice little feature here. So there's kind of 3 levels of all these notes. There's this big plus sign and then the second one, and then it's all the way down to the checkbox there. If you wanted to look and see everything that you have, it would take a while to go through everything. So instead of clicking through every single one every time, you can just click this expand and collapse and it'll open all of them up. And if you're like, whoa, too much information, you can close them all back up again. Select the signatures to include on printed documents. I've never used that. It may be useful if maybe you have a student and they have their signature and your signature. I haven't used that feature myself, so you'll have to play around with it and see how it works, but I would imagine that's how that's used. And then this icon, so let me pull a few forward here so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to pull 3 little text boxes in here using this plus sign. Now, if I've opened up a bunch of boxes and I decide I don't really need all of these, I don't want to delete the whole thing, but there's a few specific ones that I don't think I need. I can either close out by just using this individual X here, and that'll just individually delete them one by one. Or if you have 2 open, let me open up a couple more so this kind of looks like it makes more sense. So now I have 4 of them, and let's say I don't need 2 of them, and I just want to get rid of these 2. Instead of going through and deleting each of them one at a time, I can delete both of them simultaneously using this icon. So again, be careful with this because it's just going to delete them, but it will retain the ones that you didn't select off. So those are still there. So those are kind of the main features with this. I'll show you there's, depending on your discipline and what part of the note you're looking at, you can have a general text box like this, or you can have some tables. There's tables. So let me show you, for example, for PTs, this one's going to show up like a table. So that can be useful there too. This is a really useful one when you used alongside this feature. So this is kind of designed to be used once in the initial eval, and then if you copy it forward again, you'll have another column that you can update your new information with. And again, you'll pull it into your new report just using this copy previous notes feature. So that may be, more or less useful for different disciplines and different individuals. but that's just kind of nice to see. So when you're first learning how to use the system, I'd recommend just going through each of your notes, kind of opening everything up, selecting them all, and then pulling them forward and seeing what they look like, so you can see kind of what your options are, what to work with for your different notes. Just like when we were writing the daily treatment notes, you can open up these boxes using this corner here. So you click on this little gray triangle and you can make it wider and longer, which is, you will probably definitely need to do that because they start off pretty small. So then to show you a few more things that you can do in this screen, that's pretty much how you write a note. Make sure that once you write a note, or once you edit something, or you go in and you change or you write something, make sure you're signing as, or excuse me, not signing. Make sure you're saving as you go along, and then save it once again before you go to sign it. So this is the icon, just like it was in the daily treatment notes. This is how you sign your note with this little icon here. So this like bar of icons here, this is the same. We're in the documentation tab, so this is the same thing that will appear if you're in the flow sheet page. So I'll flip over to the flow sheet page. All of those are still here. So if you opened up the flow sheet page and you're like, wait, I want to write a soap note, you can click on that icon and it'll pull you back over here. So those are the, everybody, uses this just slightly differently. Those are the icons that I use the most. I already showed you in a different video what this patient visits icon is. And patient e-files, just sort of orienting you to this tab here. I use these two icons, this one, and then printing the notes, which is the same as it was I showed you in a different video. Once you save or sign, let's see if I sign it here. So it's just kind of a blank note right now, but if I go to print notes, it'll pull up my report. Occasionally you'll have to hit this view report button here one more time, but here it's pulling up my very minimal note, just to show you like how you print a note. So I'm sorry, one more time. This is how you print a note, and then if you want to email it to a parent, you would also have to click print report and then save it. You'll have to like click through all of these. It'll open up as either a PDF or the Word document, and then you can save it to your computer and then attach it to your email. And I'm not going to show you that here because I'm sure that's different on every computer. Yeah, so those are kind of the main features with this screen here. You can always unsign the note, which is kind of nice. If you forgot to add something in or you want to edit something, you can unsign it and then sign it back again. And there's a few other things. You can view charges from here. You can't submit charges for some reason. I'm not sure why, but you can see what you billed for this session. And then I don't really use either of these, so you can see for yourself if they're useful to you. I'm not really sure where this note pops up, to be honest. If you write a note where you end up seeing it, and then goal, it does not like that one. So those tabs may be less useful for you. But yeah, I think that's everything you need to know from the screen. Hopefully that was helpful, and thanks for listening.